Hey guys, Michael Ketchen here with another episode of the Michael Ketchen Show, joined by my dear friend Matthew Francois.
What up?
Thanks for being here, buddy.
Be here, Ian. So stoked.
Look at the cowboy hat, full Montana. It just fits you. It's a whole vibe.
Hey, listen, you got to adopt where you're at, and
it's a vibe,
and adopt your circumstances.
I like it. Well, you did it very well. We wanted to have you on because I get Instagram messages constantly of all these amazing experiences were happening. And what they don't know is you're like the Navy SEAL behind the scenes.
Yeah.
I'll call Matt and we'll talk. And then Ian will kind of keep us in line, but you'll be a little bit of the chaos and kind of the magic that makes it happen. So before we get into all that, give a little bit of background on you so people understand how you've kind of pulled all these super unique life experiences together to make that magic happen.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, so I think if I run it all the way back, it was, my background's hospitality, food and beverage. I worked in the service industry for 10 years. Mm-hmm. I have really bad vision and have this heightened sense of smell and taste.
Yep.
Which when you're younger doesn't work out well because I was super picky and hated everything. But as I learned like this balance.
How are you such a good golfer? That's bullshit.
Yeah, literally. I know, right? Truly. It's all feel. So I started falling in love with like craft cocktails and then met a buddy, introduced me to wine. At the time I was like, yeah, I like wine, but I was drinking Menage a Trois. It was like the $12, $2 chuck, like whatever we could get our hands on. And started getting introduced to like proper classic wines, and I could smell the wine. I was like, man, I taste tangerine and salt and orange and jasmine and gardenia. And this buddy of mine was like, dude, you need to become a sommelier. And I was like, a what? And he was like, go watch this documentary called Somm Into the Bottle and call me. And so I watched this documentary, but it was on Netflix at the time, and called him the next day, and I was like, dude, I want to be whatever that like pirate thing word that you said, the Somalian pirate. I want to be that because it was so cool. There was this context of history and story, but matched with like some of the best wines in the world.
Yeah.
And so I just dove head over heels into that and was working in the morning, would stay up till 2 a.m. doing tastings with guys and studying, and ended up becoming a sommelier. Worked for a fine dining restaurant on the floor there as a sommelier for a few years. And then my buddy and I started running a company that we just were on Maui. We would go up on the mountainside in the evening, light a fire, cook some food over the fire, and open wines with friends. And we had a few people that were like, this needs to be a company.
Yeah.
And so I got invited into that, and it was an amazing 5 years. We got to travel the country. We cooked everything over open fire. We were, our mission and vision was, how do you take this like Michelin star experience and bring it into the middle of a field and make it a little bit more authentic and real, if you will. And so we've gotten to the honor, honestly, of serving celebrities and billionaires and you name it. We've done it in some of the coolest locations in the world via helicopter or whatever it was. So I just started, as we started doing these events, I realized the power in story and unique experiences. Mm-hmm. And I think the biggest vision that I saw was when people sit down at the table and you do something authentic and genuine, the mask comes down, walls come down, and people can be vulnerable and authentic and real with what's going on in their life or their business. And so they don't have to feel like, oh yeah, everything's great, everything's fantastic. And so we've seen some massive deals, some massive businesses start just at the table because you are creating such a unique experience that like they've not been in an environment like this before, that they know how to act. They're like, where are we? We're sitting in the middle of a field staring at the mountains right now with a fire, slicing steaks.
And you know what I'm going to do for that is I'm going to reshare some of the videos of that, so that makes it real at that timestamp on YouTube with a B-reel. Because if you guys could understand, we're at my new property, Red Crown Ranch in Montana, looking at the Spanish Peaks, the Gallatin River's behind us, and Matt, to his superpower, ships in, and like, I am kind of derailing here, but you know my ADHD, and then we'll go back because I got to paint the scene. Like, you're like, this is what you call, this is the most Matt Francois story ever. There's going to be some stuff dropped off. They're going to be large boxes. Well, it was this badass grill that cooks over open fire. He ships in 3 wooden picnic tables, so we're all forced to be together like old school. These are all like millionaires and like super busy people. and you get custom wines, and we get just this knife, and you just throw down this like 2-pound steak on each one of our plates. And there was something so innocent, but also high level and beautiful at the same time.
Yeah.
And dude, I don't know how you do it, but you do it, and it's just amazing.
Yeah. I think there's just this, I say this a lot to a lot of men specifically, is we all have this like 12-year-old boy inside of us that is just wanting to like play and have fun, but yet we're serious. And so how do you take the tension of both of those things and create unique experiences?
Yeah.
And so I think that's where that passion came from. But then the last few years now, I've been doing more like bigger events for higher end network and net worth individuals. And so it's thinking beyond just the table, right? Mm-hmm. It's how do you look at this space and see the river and like, let's get a sauna right by the river rock. So that way you can sauna and then jump in the river to cold plunge. And let's order some camping chairs and get a fire there as well. So you can smoke high-end cigars sitting by the fire at the end of the night, because you're just creating spaces for people to be vulnerable and authentic. Because when you meet vulnerable and authenticity with people who crave more, that's where the firework of like an explosion of new growth happens.
Yep.
And so it's just creating those all around.
You're creating these experiences, you're crafting these experiences, and I've been beneficial to host some of them and have some of them. As real estate investors, I think it's amazing because, especially in the hospitality space, this industry is about to explode.
Yeah.
People want more and more of this.
Yeah.
What are you kind of thinking through? How does someone go about getting a Matthew Francois to get into their group? Because I don't think you just work with anybody. What is it looking for? What brings together the room?
It is what you are. You have to be vision oriented, right? We've talked about this. A lot of the business groups talk about this, but it's like, you got to know the score. You got to know where you're headed. And so a lot of times when you're doing these experiences, what is the end goal? What is the objective that you're trying to create? Is this just a hangout where you want to cook some hot dogs and hamburgers? Or is this like, hey, we're here to hopefully start another $1 million company or solve a multi-million-dollar problem that I know all of us have in this room.
Yep.
And so you have to first go, let's get a vision for what the objective is, and then let's reverse engineer that. And how do you create unique, unforgettable things that are going to get us to that vision? It's this weekend an example, right? There's these loose things, but we know we have certain ideas that we're crafting to create the space for $1 million problems to be solved. And so I think a lot of the times...
It's beautifully said.
Yeah, I think a lot of times people are just like, oh, let me go find a high-end concierge that's going to help me book an experience. And it's like, they're going to just say, here's our vendor list of really cool things that you can do. And that's great, but like nobody is thinking about the story, right? It's like, it's the idea of a business. It's like you have a story and a vision and a mission as a company to create something. And so you have to, I think that's where in the hospitality space, you're going to have people that are starting to come into that. I think sommeliers specifically have that talent and gift because they are mission and vision oriented on giving you the story of the wine and the grape and the farmer and the 7 generations of this one family that's doing something, all the way to get to, let me pour this cork that's paired with your food so that you can have this unique experience now. Yeah. And the vision and the mission out of dining experiences, I want to have food and wine that's paired together perfectly so that I'm like, oh my gosh, I've never tasted something so beautifully paired together. And so now all of a sudden you've gotten this full story. And so I think a lot of times from a concierge or an event management or creating unique experiences is like, you have to start with the end goal in mind. What is the objective? And then reverse engineer that to go, how do we create and keep stacking things on top of that so that by the time we get to this morning that we've now ended this experience, these guys are like, oh my gosh, there's already 3 guys that are like, I just solved a multi-million-dollar problem within 2 days.
Yeah, we had that. We were just talking, like one of the guys was having some limiting beliefs, and we curated an experience. We were able to dive deep. And I mean, this might swing literally real time in his business instantly, $200,000 a year. Yeah. And I never even thought of that. I guess I really is a genius. I just experienced it more than thought about that of, you're crafting the environment to allow for that experience.
Yes.
Allow for that conversation. Correct. And the thing that I don't think people sometimes are cognizant of is you are the average of the 5 people you most associate with.
Yep.
You are your circle.
Yep.
Well, if you want to level up your circle, as you continue to level up, the expectations go higher and higher, and the experience people want is more and more. And it's like you're not gonna get high caliber, high performing A player people to go down to D level experiences and keep them engaged.
Correct.
And now you're not in the right frame of mind. You're already thinking about what your time is worth.
Yep.
And yeah, so that's amazing. There's something, that's a gem there to unpack.
Well, and again, it goes back to that vulnerability and authenticity, right? Because it's like, had those unique experiences not been crafted and we were just sitting in the living room, you might have been able to just shoot the shit and have a cool conversation and been like, oh yeah, I got some deals. They're doing okay though. And then it just moves on because the environment is stiff and people have walls up.
Yep.
But next thing you know, it's like you're sweating in a sauna and you go out into the Gallatin River and you're cold and you're feeling pressure and you're doing these things. And then you sit down to just smoke a cigar. And people are like, oh man. And then I think the layer beyond that is thinking from a storied perspective is just asking the right questions.
Yeah.
Because I think most people don't know how to ask good questions in an environment because they are constantly thinking about internal. What am I going to bring? How valuable am I going to be? This, and this. So the moment you create experiences that pull those walls away, you can be vulnerable and go, man, guys, I got this problem and it's really screwed up right now and I need help.
Yeah, and now you frame it that way. There's a lot to unpack there.
So much.
You have impacted my business beyond belief. You've become a dear friend. I feel like, this is the thing that I want everyone to think about when they hear this. The depth of the experience can make up for the lack of time. Mm-hmm. And there's a reason why some of the guys we've connected with, yourself included, in a small amount of hours, have connected at a level of depth that is just so beyond belief. So thank you for doing that. And that would kind of be what I would tell anyone to think about, is that it's not about, don't think of the time in terms of quantity, think about it as quality, truly. Watch yourself as a human level up, your relationships level up in your business. Totally. Matt, people are going to want, because now the secret's out. Yeah. How are we going to get people to get to you? Let's get out here and how are people getting a hold of you to curate this? So
there's two ways. You can follow me at The Feasting House. So that is a company that I have that runs unique dining experiences based out of Franklin, Tennessee. We can travel though. It's called feastinghouse.com. There is a password protected, so what we'll do is...
we're making it exclusive. Look at that. Hey, all you people, go to my website, but fuck off.
Yeah, literally. No, so we'll put it in the description for the content, but the password to get in is slow down, no caps, no spaces. I love that. Because again, the passion is to get people to slow down and get to the table. And again, my background specifically for me is, man, Jesus did all of his ministry at the table, and whether you follow him or not, if you look at him as a person and what he did and the morals and values he lived by, and if you're like, man, I want to live like that and live a really good life, I want to emulate and be and become and do what he did, you got to start with the table. And you have to start with these experiences and slowing down and becoming present and taking a deep breath. And so you can do that with any caliber person. Yep. You could do that with just pizza on the table, or you could do that with caviar, wagyu, truffles, and $1,000 bottles of champagne. So it's across that spectrum. But so find me at feastinghouse.com. Password is slow down. Hit me up. There's a little info page that you can fill it out. We can chat there. And then the Feasting House on Instagram as well. That one is going to be a little bit more of an elusive because, again, I think there is something...
Because you're just terrible at social media. You can say
I don't like social media because I'm a very present person, and I'm never looking at like...
He's so bad at it.
Let's get this shot and let's get this content. I just am present in the moment. But I need somebody to run that because...
We'll take care. We'll get you out there and I will hit you up. He's Matthew Francois. I'm Michael Ketchen.
Love it.
And as always, bet on yourself.